back to the community. In your book of Death of Innocence, you talk extensively about the JonBenét Ramsey Foundation. That foundation was closed. It virtually did nothing. Yet in your book, it still says the proceeds from the book sales are going to the JonBenét Ramsey Foundation. I'm wondering if you can explain that. And also, could you please tell everybody that in the civil case, the judge was only presented with what Linwood, your civil attorney, showed her, and without benefit of the actual police file?
Regarding the foundation we set up for JonBenét in her honor, we did the same for our daughter Beth when she died in 1992.
This week, however, we did present $1,000 worth of scholarships to Mount Macsaba Day Camp in Illinois, Michigan, where we live, where JonBenét and Burke both attended day camp. JonBenét was the camper of the year one summer, and we were very happy that the foundation was able to provide some scholarship monies for campers this year.
If you've watched parts 1 and 2 of this video, you are very aware at this point of the emotional roller coaster ride that I explained you would be taking when you watched it. For those of you that haven't experienced that roller coaster ride, I'm sure you're not listening to my voice right now because you've already turned the video off. That's fine. It's understandable. It's a matter of time before these individuals see the truth that you see. Once they do, it's apparent, it's clear, the conditioning is then removed, the blinders are taken off, and the world becomes a much better place than they've tricked us into seeing. This part 3 of the video is going to shock you even more, as it's going to tie all of those individuals together and show you who they are and how they are associated with all these events. I want you to understand one thing, though. The gambit, if you don't know what that is, it's an old term that basically means to trip somebody up, to put something in front of them to make them fall, so that you gain an advantage over them. This gambit has been used by these individuals in the form of information that they themselves have propagated globally via books, via TV, via word of mouth, rumors, events that never took place that they create and then show to us on TV. You name it, they've done it. So I will just leave you with this before we begin, and keep this in mind. I will go over some things at the end of this video, some things that you can do, some steps you can take to stop them from what they're doing. Now, I'm asked all the time, why are they doing this? Well, you're asking me to speculate, and if I must, I'll tell you this. From my perspective, from what I've seen, it's about control. They have all the money. They can print up money if they want. It's not about that. It's not about possessions. It's about control. They are in a position that they want to stay in. They don't want you to come even close to them. So in order for them to control you and for them to control their fate, they must eliminate the wrong between us and them. And that wrong is in the form of the middle class. They eliminate that wrong under the guise of making everyone equal, or the redistribution of wealth. Now, from the bottom end of the spectrum, that seems like a pretty good idea. So they'll have those people to vote yes for what they're doing. But for the rest of the world, we understand that it doesn't mean for the poor to become equal. It means for the rest of us to become poor. The poorer they can make us, the better, because that distances them and us even more. It's all about control. In order for them to maintain that control, they need to remove the foundation that we can base our logic and reasoning on by convincing us of a flawed base or benchmark that we use to then evaluate situations and then act on that accordingly. they have successfully been able to continue this gambit without even having to try hard to do it, because we have been conditioned to not question. We have been conditioned to ridicule those that do question. Well, it's now changing because people are waking up. More and more people are becoming more confident with what they see and know that is not real, and are saying something about it. Don't let them convince you of something that is not real, and don't let them threaten you into doing what's not right.
You may be eluding the authorities for a time, but God knows who you are, and we will find you.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Now I want you to listen to this voice that I'm about to play for you.
Investigations, more interviews, and we will go where it takes us. Right now, we heard about these loopholes in the law. Law enforcement asked for greater tools so that they could get convictions and try to...
Let me assure you that I did not kill JonBenét. I did not have anything to do with it.
Investigations, more interviews, and we will go where it takes us. Right now,
Let me assure you that I did not kill JonBenét. I did not have anything to do with it.
Heard about these loopholes in the law. Law enforcement asked for greater tools so that they could get convictions and try. Operation Fast and Furious is under investigation, and we've had one hearing on it. We intend to have more, and more investigations, more interviews, and we will go where it takes us. Right now.
So now we're talking about another U.S. Senator that's fictitious, fake. We have Gabrielle Giffords, which is another one that is fake. When I looked up Gabrielle Giffords and couldn't find any records in the National Archives or in the Thomas Registry, I also noticed that there were 5 other U.S. representatives, 4 of which are the adjacent districts to Gabrielle Giffords, and 1 is in L.A. So, these individuals need to be looked at. But in the meantime, let's look at the father of the JonBenét character. When we examine these 2 ears, we can see that they are consistent with each other, and we can conclude that they are of the same person. We see the crease in the fold of the lobe. Trega is the same. We can see every single aspect of this ear is the same. This one is turned facing us, this one is a side profile shot. So you're going to see a different perspective when it comes to the creases in the ear and when it comes to the outer shape of the ear. But you can see that everything in these ears are consistent. Now before I show you who this person is, I want to introduce you to a group of individuals that are appointed by the President of the United States. And maybe you'll get a better idea of who these people are and what they do and how they control certain things, certain aspects of your life.
The chairman of the Broadcasting Board of Governors, the organization overseeing U.S. media targeting foreign audiences, says that his organization needs to fight its enemies. And among those are Iran's Press TV, China's CCTV, and this channel.
Communicated by our enemies. There's that Freedom House report that reveals that today's autocratic leaders are investing billions of dollars.
We have done some of that, not to the extent that we'd hoped. Frankly, we had hoped that we could recover substantial damages.
and media resources to influence the global opinion. You got Russia Today, Iran's Press TV, Venezuela's Telesur.
So remember the 2 years that we just looked at. Well, allow me to introduce you to Walter Isaacson.
Communicated by our enemies. There's that Freedom House report that reveals that today's autocratic leaders are investing billions of dollars in media resources to influence the global opinion. You got Russia Today, Iran's Press TV, Venezuela's Telesur.
Not only does he play Isaacson, but he plays a couple more people in the realm of what we've been looking at. Now, before we closely examine this person and the position that Barack Obama appointed him to, along with the other 7 individuals in that group, we want to look at 2 other people. One of them is very closely associated with this person and plays a big role in Pima County and with the Gabrielle Giffords and all the other events that we've been investigating. Then the next person after him we will look at is going to be another political government official that's going to be shown to you as a fake.
The Boulder Police and the DA.
You get one cop throwing his badge down because he doesn't think you're being tough enough on the Ramseys, and you have another detective throwing his badge down because he thinks you're too.
That claims to be narrowing in on the killer or killers.
I have an idea of who did it, yes.
If he's referring to John...
The American press has been all over this story. Every fact that the press can find, they've printed, and a lot of things that weren't fact, they printed. If the Ramseys are doing anything, what they are doing is they are saying, we have a complaint. And the American press doesn't seem to be too willing to air complaints about itself.
Maybe so.
Former U.S. Attorney for Colorado, Bill Leone.
Fraud cases never get very complicated. They all boil down to who knew what and when. And I think that is that will be the inquiry that the FBI will pursue.
In fact, Lou Dobbs called.
So I'm Gary Johnson.
Oh, you're the political guy.
Yeah. But I think it's very unfocused and incoherent right now. I think it should sharpen its goals and its message and so forth. You know, it's not enough. What do they even mean by Wall Street? Is that anybody who has a lot of money? Is it any kind of capitalist? Is it any financial institution? I mean, I'm not happy with you. And just anecdotal conversations tend to tell me that they don't really have a clear idea of what the problem is, let alone what the solution is.
So the photograph I took at the Dallas Occupy event showing that pissed off person was Gary Johnson, which is a fake name because he's a Rockefeller. This is at the beach house of Rockefeller Jr. This is Ponce from Quartzsite. This is Ponce and his wife, who actually she plays Jared Lee Loughner's school teacher.
Our next guest got to know Jared Loughner when he was a student in her biology class at Pima Community College last summer. Professor Debbie Scheidemantel called...
And criminal misconduct, abuse of NCIC CJIS. NCIC is the National Criminal...
This is their children. He plays Dallas Green Jr. This is their brother, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is not Katzenberg at all. It's a Rockefeller. This is the one, Gary Johnson, who was mad at me. Here they are sitting at the table, playing with the grandchildren. Gary Johnson again, with, I believe, his aunt, Katzenberg, and his other brother. Definitely remember this face. David Rockefeller Jr. and his sister. Richard Sexton, who is also another brother. Rockefeller Jr. with Ponce Jr., his great-grandchild. Rockefeller Jr. at the beach house. This happened a year before these events, the Quartzsite events and Gabrielle Giffords event, took place. You must understand that that means conspiracy. These individuals, a year before the events that they took roles in, fake events, took place, they were meeting together and conspired. And as you will see, the Rockefellers play a huge part, if not the part, in all of this, as you will see by me using their photographs from their family albums to expose more of them.